Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another edition of the Opposition Preview. First things first, guys, make sure you like, comment, subscribe and hit that bell notification button. And Chelsea head to Turf Moor this weekend, looking to make it back-to-back Premier League wins for the first time this season after Monday night's win against Fulham. Burnley heading into the game with a bit of confidence now, still in that relegation zone, but only on goal difference, but a big win against Luton, which they desperately needed for their first win of the season. So Chelsea have had a happy record at Turf Moor, winning last time out there. I think we put 4 goals away under Thomas Tuchel. So it's been a happy hunting ground for us, but there are no easy games in the Premier League. So it's going to be a tough test. Vincent Kompany is a good manager, played a great style of football last season in the Championship, still having a few teething issues getting that over into the Premier League, but it should be an interesting game. And to get the Burnley perspective, I'd like to be joined by Joe from the TurfCast. Mate, welcome to the channel. Thanks for your time. Is it safe to say that the start of the season, as disappointing as it's been, has kind of gone how Burnley fans would have expected? You've sort of got the points on the board at this stage of the season that you would have expected to have given the run of fixtures. It's been a tough start.
Yeah, it has. But after, it's one of them, like, we're not where we want to be after 7 games. 18th, that's not where you want to be after 7 games. But when you look at the teams that we've played, we are exactly where we should be. A draw away at Forest, obviously that's after the week after Forest won at Stamford Bridge, and then we went there. I'm thinking, typical, they're going to be full of confidence. But we went there, should have won the match. If the referee had done, well, the VAR official would have done his job properly, then we would have won the match. There was a goal ruled out for handball that was never handball. And then obviously beating Luton last night. So it's a good point to get a point at Forest, but we should be beating Luton at Luton with the greatest of respect to Luton. Yes, it's been disappointing, but look, we've played Manchester City, we've played Aston Villa, we've played Spurs, Manchester United, who, aren't the team they used to be, and we probably should have won that one. Well, at least got a point on the balance of play, but when you look at the teams that we've played, we're exactly where we should be. 4 points from the teams we've played is what I would have wanted when the fixtures come out.
Yeah, I say obviously you had that great season last season, winning the Championship at quite a canter, to be honest. The best team in that division by quite a long way. Vincent Kompany, playing some exciting attacking football. I haven't watched a lot of Burnley this season. I watched the game against Man United a couple of weeks ago. How's he been getting on adjusting to life in the Premier League? Is there a few teething issues trying to get that style that did so well in the Championship to work in the Premier League? Have there been any adjustments to how you're playing?
There's not been too many adjustments, really. I think it's difficult to gauge where he's at as a manager at this level, again, because of the teams that we've played. But we are where we are. But there's been a few things that I think probably should have done a little bit better there. We've just obviously done a preview show on my channel, but we're talking to you there on that channel about Ian Martson. And obviously we lost him. He went back to you guys in the summer. Fantastic player. Would have loved to have him back. But obviously he didn't want to come back, which is fine. But we had a massive gap at left back because that's where he played for us last season, left wing back, and he was getting forward, defending quite well. I say quite well. There was some errors in his defensive play, but getting forward, he was brilliant. And he added another dimension to us when we're attacking. We could switch it. We could get it out to the left. We could get it out to the right with Nathan Teller, who'd been fantastic playing in sort of like a free role behind the striker. But then when we lost him, Vincent didn't really. He didn't bring anyone in that was good enough to fill that gap, and then he started practicing with other people. We brought in a lad called Delcroix from, I think he came from the Belgian league. He tried playing him at left back at first. That didn't work because I think he's a centre back. He's quite new, so I've not seen much of him in that game, and he was absolutely destroyed. I think he's tried to play Dora O'Shea there again, who's a centre back. He was just cut open at will, and then he actually tried playing Connor Roberts there, who's a right back, and then put the backup right back at right back while Connor was at left back, and it was just all a bit of a mess. So that was a bit of an issue. Last night, obviously we're recording this on Wednesday, we beat Luton, but there was a point in the game where you could see the tide changing, and a proactive manager would have gone, right, get this guy on, get that guy on, make the changes that are needed. Vincent didn't do that. He waited and he waited and he waited, and then Luton eventually got the equaliser. We got quite lucky because they switched off. Schoolboy error, still celebrating pretty much. And then we went up and scored. So they just switched off a little bit. So we did get away with that one there, but he should have made the changes earlier. And at the minute, there's another one kind of developing. Like we've spent a lot of money for Burnley on our new goalkeeper, James Trafford, who's done very well with England. Obviously, he saved a penalty in the last minute. Which won them the European Championships, the under-19 Championships, I think it was, in the summer. And he's come in and he's put him straight in the squad, bang, number one, there you go, job's done. And he's been okay, but I feel like it's a little bit harsh on Muric, who was the number one throughout last season. And there's been some, not errors as such, because he's not really dropped a clanger, but I just feel like Muric offers something different with his play on with the ball at his feet, whereas Trafford just seems to panic. And I think that's another one that's developing, which I'm hoping he reacts quickly to it if, the noise gets too much. I think it's difficult to gauge where he's at the minute. But yeah, look, if you just look at his time at the club as a whole, then he's been absolutely fantastic for us. He's been brilliant. Last season was, in my opinion, my favourite ever season following Burnley Football Club, and I've watched us finish seventh and play very briefly, admittedly, but playing the Europa League.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly quite a transition from the style of football you were playing under Sean Dyche. It's a complete transformation. I mean, you touched on Burnley spending a lot of money for how much, for sort of the financial power of the club. I know we spent a lot of money, of course, but it seemed like Burnley players were popping up left, right, and centre during a transfer window for Burnley. A couple that have caught my eye. I really like that KOLEOSHO, if I've pronounced it properly. I think I saw him in the game against United. He looks a good player. Looks like he could be someone that can cause teams a lot of problems. And I know he doesn't always start, but from what I've seen of him, I've quite liked the look of Bryn Larson as well. I think he's quite a good player. Are those two that have stood out to the Burnley fans so far this season, kind of out of the new signings?
KOLEOSHO, definitely, because he's come in. He was another one, like, he came in, he's 19 years old, and you're thinking, we'll probably see the best of him in a couple of years. If we get relegated, he might tear the Championship up next season or the season after. But he came in straight away, and he started on the left-hand side of the front three. But yeah, he's been fantastic. Like, he gets the ball and he's got this incredible turn of pace, and he's 19 years old. 19, and we got him for like, what, 2 million quid off the top of my head? I can't remember. He's been a brilliant buy, an absolutely brilliant buy. He's just lacking a bit of end product. Now, like I said, he's 19, so that will come with experience. But you said you watched the Man United game. It was like the first 5 minutes. He got the ball at his feet, literally just booted it past Dalot, sprinted, Dalot legged him up, yellow card, happy days. And just going back to your previous question, that was another mistake that Company did, because he then switched him onto the right-hand side, which didn't make any sense. But that just shows what he can do. Bryn Larson, yeah, you're right. He's not played much. I think he's now done enough to start against you guys, probably on the right-hand side of this front three. I'm expecting us to go with LUCA on the left and Bryn Larson now on the right. But he scored a real goal last night against Luton. That one I was just telling you about, where they switched off. Bent it, cuts inside from the right, bends it with his left foot into the far corner. Brilliant. So a lot of Burnley fans are now asking the question, Bryn Larson should start. But the ones that have probably caught the eye quite a lot is definitely KOLEOSHO. I think he's been the one that's come in and done the most. They've still got a few who will get minutes and hopefully do more. Mike Trezor, he was the Belgian Super League, or whatever it's called, the Belgian Pro League Player of the Year last year. So I'm expecting him to come in and get some minutes soon. Hopefully he can improve as when he comes in. But yeah, we've signed a lot, and it was the same in January and the summer before. It was just a big turnover with players at the minute with Vincent Kompany. I think we signed 16 players, not the summer just gone, the summer before. But we had to, because, we had a lot of outgoings, Nick Pope, Tarkowski, Ben Mee, Westwood, these sort of players. So it had to be done. But yeah, he's definitely got an eye for a player as Vincent Kompany. I think if we're going to be honest with ourselves, there's a lot of these players would not be at Burnley Football Club if Vincent Kompany wasn't there. So yeah, he's definitely got an eye for a player.
Yeah, I think he's probably been quite a big pull as well, I guess, because of his playing career. Players want to play for him, and I guess Burnley are getting the benefits of that with some of these exciting youngsters that are coming through. But maybe throw it ahead to the game on Saturday. Obviously, we're coming in off the back of a win against Fulham, not at the best start of the season. But from a Burnley perspective, what do you guys need to do to get a positive result, whether that be a win or get a point? What needs to change from sort of what we've seen so far this season? Obviously, you got the win against Luton, which is big. Do you expect much of the same approach from that Luton game to transpire in this game against Chelsea?
I think so. I think we'll try and have a lot of the ball. It's because we're not really a counter-attacking side. So if a team has a lot of the ball against us, there's not really too much that we can do to in terms of impose our style on the game. So we'll try and have a lot of the ball. And then when we don't, we do press quite well. So that's how we will try and get the ball back. We'll press you. We'll get in your faces quite high up the pitch. But yeah, pretty much of a muchness, really. I think what we need to do, the main thing we need to do is be a 90-minute side. So far this season, we've not played well for a full 90 minutes. Like we've mentioned the Luton game. Yes, we dominated them for 60, 65 minutes, but there was a 25-minute spell in that match where it was all Luton. And if we give a team with the quality that Chelsea have, admittedly, you've had a slow start, but you've still got good players, individuals. If we give these individuals the amount of chances, the amount of space that we gave Luton last night, then yeah, you'll beat us quite comfortably. You mentioned the Manchester United match. Then again, the first 45 minutes, we were the better side. Yes, they scored late on in that first half. Great goal, to be fair, from Fernandes. Again, that's just a difference with individuals and the quality that we sometimes don't have. But then the second 45 minutes, we'll just nowhere to be seen. The game passed us by, was very, very passive, and we need to be a 90-minute side. We need to stay in these games for 90 minutes. It's going to be difficult against a side with the players that you have, but that seems to be the next step for us in this season. Just be a 90-minute side and be in the game for 90 minutes. You can't go missing for 20 minutes in the Premier League. You just can't do it. You will get punished.
No, yeah, you absolutely can't. I think it's a little bit similar for us. At times this season, we've played some good stuff for an hour, played some good stuff for 45 minutes or whatever, but we struggled to put a performance together for the whole 90. Against Fulham, that it was a lot better, but that's something that we need to try and do ourselves a lot more regularly. I just wanted to touch on the goal scoring side of things. Like ourselves, Burnley haven't scored an awful lot of goals this season. What's Foster been like since he's come in? I mean, I've not watched a lot of him, but I've seen, I've checked scores and stuff. He's popped up with a couple of important goals here and there. Obviously, you've had the likes of Chris Wood in the past, who scored quite a few goals for you. Rodriguez is still there, but doesn't really seem to be in the starting 11. Are you happy with the firepower that's at the club at the moment, or do you think that's perhaps something that should have been addressed a bit better in the summer?
It's weird because we didn't make an out signing, striker signing is what I'm trying to say. We didn't bring a striker in the summer. Is probably a better way of stringing that sentence together, because we brought Foster in January, and now Foster was brought in January with a view to being in the Premier League. We this season have had a documentary come out. I think it's on Sky Documentaries or something, and there's quite a lot of board meetings in there, and they were talking about the signing of Foster in there. And Vincent and Alan Pace, who's the Burnley chairman, were saying, "Look, we're signing him now with a view to play him in the Premier League, so we don't get charged double." Because as soon as you go up into the Premier League, that's what people do, don't they? The foreign clubs and other clubs across England, they'll stick the money up, and then you've got to pay more, like a premium. So we brought him in January, and look, he's done very, very well. He started life slowly in the Championship last season, but you could see little pockets of his play where he looked quality, and then he'd go missing for a lot of the games. But in the Premier League, he's been very, very good. He's been suspended because he got sent off against Forest, so he has missed 2 Premier League games. But I think he's scored twice in the Prem now. Scored 3 over the course of the season, I think it is. He's our leading goal scorer this season anyway. So, I'm quite happy with Foster. I do like him. When he goes through on goal, you can not put your mortgage on it, but I'm quite like last night. That's how he scored his goal. He went through on goal, and I was just so confident that he was scoring. It's good to finally have somebody like that, because you mentioned Chris Wood there. Yes, Chris Wood scored a lot of goals for us, and he was our top goal scorer for like 3 seasons on the bounce. But if he went through one-on-one, he'd probably panic and scuff his shot. He was good at heading it, snapshots, them sort of thing. Jay Rodriguez, he's a bit past it now. He's just more of a bring on when we're, trying to hold on to a game sort of thing. But somebody else that we did bring in the summer is Zeki Amdouna. Now he's got a couple of goals. He's not an out-and-out sort of like striker, like a poacher striker. He'll score goals when he's arriving late in the box, that sort of thing. Probably play in that number 10 role. But at the minute, it looks like Sander Berg's going to be in there, and he's played quite well last night against Luton. But he's more of a provider rather than a goal scorer. So, yeah, we've not scored a lot of goals yet this season. But I refer back to my earlier point about look at the teams that we've played. So, yeah, we've got an easier run coming up after you guys, where I'm starting to think, right, this is where the season starts now. So let's judge the team and the goal scorers and even the keeper that I've said myself I'm not confident on after these games, because it's important where we are after November. I think that's when we know whereabouts we'll be in the league come the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that run up to Christmas is so important. It's kind of the stage of the season where you sort of got a real idea of how the season's going to pan out. It's way too early after sort of 7 games to be sort of drawing concrete conclusions. To round out, mate, score prediction for the game on Saturday. We both need the points for different reasons, of course, but you confident that Burnley can get a positive result?
Confident would be the wrong word. Listen, it's we've just got this win against Luton. Your start does fill me with a bit of confidence that maybe we can, get something out of this. Like, we drew at Forest and we were the better side again against Forest for large parts of the game. I refer back to the earlier point. We need to be a 90-minute side. Forest did have spells that we allowed them back into the game. But obviously Forest did beat you the week before that. So I know you've got better since then, but I'm expecting a confident Burnley side to come out. And like I said, it's probably more in hope rather than expectation. But I'm hoping that Burnley get a point. So I'm going to predict a point because I think we score, because you said, I think it was either earlier on this show or on my show, just before we recorded this, that you do have a mistake in you, and we press very, very well. I think we're probably the best pressers in the bottom half of the Prem. We press very, very well, so I think we'll get in your face, and I think we'll force you into an error. So fingers crossed. But yeah, I'm going to go 1-1.
Fair enough. I'm going to back the boys. I've got to stick with it. I think we're going to win 2-0. I think the confidence is increasing. The attacking line the front line starting to gel together. The midfield looks a bit better balanced defensively. We've been quite solid despite the fact we can have a mistake in us on occasion. So I'm going to back us to make it back-to-back Premier League wins for the first time this season. I'm going to go the 2-0 win for the boys. But I think this will be a lot closer than perhaps people expect it to be. But yeah, mate, thanks so much for your time. If people want to check out more of what you guys do, where should they go?
Yeah, so we're on YouTube. It's just Turfcast Podcast on YouTube. We obviously have this podcast as well. That's how we started life. So if you search that on any of usual podcast providers like Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, that sort of thing, we're on there. And we're on all the social media channels as well. Just search Turfcast Podcast on Google. You will find us.
Perfect, guys. Our channel will be tagged in the title of the video, so make sure you click on that. Go and show the guys some love over on YouTube. Guys, I'll catch you again in another video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. Up the Chelsea, and catch you again soon, guys.